Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so this is the Hood Central Appraisal District Board of Directors meeting at 1902 West Pearl Street. Notice has been given on December 18th, 2025. The Board of Directors of the Hood County Central Appraisal District will meet in an open session for a called meeting beginning at 5 o'clock. And so with that, we'll call it to order. And we do have a quorum with all members present. We have no guests signed up to speak this evening. So we don't have any visitors to recognize. And so we'll go to item number 4, which are action items. The consent agenda is on A. Get a chance to look over the minutes. Financial statement. Entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. We have a motion by Richard and a second by Mark to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? We will call a question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0. Under 4B, we have general action items. Discuss and take possible action to approve the 2025 budget amendment as presented to the taxing entities on October 28th, 2025.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And if you have in your packet, you have this letter that we sent out October the 28th to the presiding officers. Technically, Rod sent it through me. But essentially what we did was we laid out what we wanted to do as far as the budget amendment went. We did. And we were really covering the forensic audit is what it boiled down to. I did not get any feedback from any of the taxing entities about this. Actually, I think the city and maybe the county, I know the city approved it, which we weren't asking them to approve it. The really only action that they would have properly taken would have been to disapprove the budget amendment. But nobody disapproved it. So I would recommend that you make a motion to approve it. I believe the way that this works is the board of directors, the law says the board of directors has the right to amend the budget at any time. But we have to take that amendment, send it to the taxing agencies, and then give them 30 days to say yes, or really to say no. They don't have to say yes. If they don't say no, then you guys would come back and adopt the amended budget like you would have adopted the regular budget that we had. So this would be, the motion would be, as I make a motion to adopt the 2025 budget amendment. Now, I will say this, when we were doing this, we were given sort of the indication that forensic audit was going to cost about $125,000. Mm-hmm. And to date, we've spent $167,000. So we're most likely going to come up in our final audit with us being over budget in this particular line item, because when Meg and I were talking to them about what we should do, 125 was the number that we knew at the time. So I don't think it's going to matter because we'll still be under budget overall, but we will have to take into account when we work up a refund. Well, obviously we'll take into account that we were over budget in this item and just not give everything back, so to speak. I mean, we'll give everything we have back up to a certain point. Mm-hmm. We are going to be over budget in that item. So with that, I'll answer any questions you might have. Go from there. And strangely enough, the budget we amended was from, what was it? The amended budget for 2025. Mm-hmm. I think there's a typo there. So the total 2025 budget after the amendment was $3,075,000. Those numbers are the same.
Yes.
So those are supposed to be the
we
same.
Didn't increase the budget.
That's your net budget.
It's just a transfer in the line item. The overall number didn't increase.
Never mind. Yeah. You're right. I'll shut up and you can make a motion.
So I like the letter and I like the way we're doing it. My only concern would be, because we talked about the unspent revenues, primarily the result of savings related to employment expenses due to retirement, voluntary termination. Mm-hmm. I just don't want the other entities to think that we might not replace those people in the next year.
Oh, yeah, okay, I understand what you're talking about, yeah.
You know, I don't want them to think, okay, they've reduced staff, so budget should come down now.
Man, and what we'll do is when we move into the next year, well, we've already reduced next year's budget by one position,
Right.
which we don't intend to replace.
Okay.
So we'll operate it next year based upon what we have. And right now we're down one extra position. One of our appraisers left and got a job at a roofing company.
Okay.
And so, but we've been evaluating that position to see
Yeah.
whether or not we need to replace that position with another appraiser or whether we replace it with a different type of staff member. But we'll be good there.
Yeah, that was my only concern is.
Now, what I will tell you too is that going forward, I'm probably going to do our line item adjustments like this going forward.
Yeah.
I've visited with an attorney and he kind of told me, he's like, what bad will it become if you say, we're going to do a budget amendment, we're going to move some money around, but we're not increasing the overall budget? He's kind of like, who's going to disapprove that when they didn't disapprove the original budget? So I'm probably going to take this format going forward. Instead of doing line item adjustments like we have in the past, it'll just bring more transparency to everything. Say, this is what we're talking about doing.
Probably a great idea.
And communicate it because we will send this to the presiding officers. So.
And then and you said it a minute ago, we'll need to do another one of these because this has 125 and
Well, I
60 something.
I don't know that we have to. We possibly can't, but I mean, this is the December meeting. We would have to do it in a time where we're outside of the fiscal year. So, I mean, but we could just leave the fact that says, well, we were over budget in this particular line item.
Okay.
Now, part of me, the reason that I felt like it was very important for us to do a budget amendment for this is that we didn't have a line item called forensic
Forensic
audit.
audit,
So we
right.
needed to add a line item to the budget. But if I was just moving money from salaries to cover travel or education to cover insurance, all those line items still exist, and you just kind of, which is kind of what the county does when they do their line item adjustment.
Right.
Every meeting.
But this one,
Yeah.
this one we needed to create a new line item for this particular thing. But we'll do probably another one of these at the end of next year when we look at, is there any areas where we were over budget, or hopefully nothing will come up like we need to replace 30 computers.
Right.
Nothing will come up like we had a switch go out and we need more technology funds.
Okay.
So
Good.
hopefully we've
Great.
budgeted a little better and of course seeing what may happen going forward.
All right. Any other discussion?
So, but you do want us to do a motion to accept?
Yeah, I think you need to make a motion to approve the amended 2025 budget.
Then I move we accept the amended 2025 budget
And approve it.
and approve it.
Second. I think the word approve.
Approve is the word. I
I've got a
move we
motion from Scott and a second from Richard that we adopt and approve the amended 2025 budget. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0. All right. 4B, number 2, we have a discussion and take possible action to consider implementing written policies in response to the recommendations within the Weaver Tidwell forensic audit.
Yes, sir. I've given you two documents there to look at. The first one, it says Hood County. I need to change it to Hood Central Appraisal District Board of Directors recommended changes. These these 6 paragraphs are a direct result of the recommendations that came straight out of the forensic audit. Now, I did reword them so that it would be worded in more of a policy thing instead of a recommendation. So I don't know if you want to sit down and read them all, we can, but there's another document that I want to talk about here in just a second. So the first one kind of says, anytime the district is faced with a complex financial transactions, which hopefully we wanted to deal with that. In other words, real estate, acquisition, obligations of unspent revenue, establishments of committed funds, additional contributions. The administrative staff should consult with legal counsel and accounting professionals to make sure that these are done properly, is what that basically says.
Mhm.
And I'm 100% on board with that.
Seems like it.
Yeah. This will ensure HoodCat structures its transactions according to the Texas Property Tax Code and or other applicable regulations and accounting standards and avoid the expenditures of funds without proper approvals and notifications. So I think that's a good policy to have going forward.
Yeah.
Any excess funds from fiscal years that are obligated or committed by the board of directors should be recorded and tracked within HCAD's accounting records, including all fund balances or unassigned funds. Now, where this one stems from is that Weaver and them believed that we should have had this $1.9-ish million that had been held over by the board for capital out. They believe that it should have been recorded in a general ledger account number. Where it was being recorded was by our auditors in unassigned fund balance.
Yeah.
It showed up in the audits,
But it should have been in a committed fund.
something like that. Yeah. Now, Meg, I'm not going to throw her on the spot or make her be on the recording, but she had been in contact with our auditors at the time saying, what do we do with this money? And she had been seeking almost like the first paragraph.
Right.
She had been seeking counsel from them about how we handle it. And the auditors at that time advised us, don't worry about it right now. We will take care of it when we audit. And so she was kind of looking for, where do you want us to put that? So when I came along in September 2023, that first year, I asked the board to commit some funds but we set up the litigation committed fund, the building maintenance fund,
Yeah.
and the technology fund. And we actually passed a resolution saying we are going to set this up, and we actually sent it to all the taxing unions saying we're going to develop these funds. Well, that's basically what this policy says that we should do if we're going to do this going forward. So it's kind of like, great. Well, I don't have any problems at all following this recommendation. Technically, we already are.
Yeah.
So that's basically what that third paragraph kind of says, that if we're going to use these excess funds, we just need to make sure we do it in a proper way. And there's another document we're going to get to here in just a second on that. The district should include a list of all intended capital outlay with reasonable estimates of the anticipated expenditures within the budget. Technically, the law tells us that we're supposed to do that. If we come up with a capital outlay project, we're supposed to put in the budget, what are we going to spend in capital outlay? So that would be another thing that we have no problem complying by, because that's what the law says we should do. These potential multi-year commitment, potential multi-year commitment expenditures, I'm trying to put an S there, related to future plans or projects along with the general cost estimate will help ensure yearly budgets reflect the project scope and the estimated costs and communicated to the taxing units outflows related to those projects. So it's basically saying, if we're gonna have a major capital outlay, we need to put it in the budget so that we're communicating it to all those. Again, I think it's something we should be doing anyway, because the law says we should do it. The fifth paragraph, if the board of directors, for the purpose of strengthening the district's Texas County and district's retirement assisted funded ratio, makes additional contributions above the required or elected contribution rate, the district shall continue to review and reconcile the transfers to TCDRS within HCAD's general ledger. We're already doing that.
I was going to say.
Again, but we can.
Because it says continue there.
Yeah, we can make this, we can put this in a policy to where we would continue to do that. And that's another good thing for us to talk about briefly. Our funded ratio right now is about 92%. And if the board's desire would be to try to get that closer to 100, what we would have to do, we could do it by two ways. One, we could take money left over at the end of the year, which I'm not recommending that we do it for this year. I'm not recommending we commit any monies. Any monies we have left over, I'm going to recommend we just refund them back. But we could take that money and say we want to send $100,000 to TCDRS and make a one-time contribution to them, which is what the board has done in the past. Make a one-time contribution, and then when they recalculate, they come back and says, oh, you're not at 92% funded now, you're at 93 or 94 or whatever it adjusts to. The second way we could do it is that we are required to contribute 10.8, 11, somewhere there. 11.09 is our required rate of contribution. If the board chose, we could say, you know what, let's put it in the budget that we're going to contribute 14%. And every time we contributed money to TCDRS, they would take the 11%, say that's your required, but anything above that would go into help take care into the trust fund, yes, but help take care of that funded ratio. 92% is not a bad ratio to have, but where people start to get nervous is when people like the governor or the lieutenant governor start talking about, well, let's get rid of property taxes,
right,
which would include most likely getting rid of appraisal districts. And now all of a sudden, there's no more money pouring into to the retirement system.
Yeah.
So it could be that TCDR has to come back and says, well, you're only 92% funded. So if you thought you were going to get $1,000 a month, in reality, you're only getting about $920 a month, something like that. So I know a lot of appraisal districts that have been working towards getting closer to 100. They don't always stay at 100 because if the real estate market tumbles a little bit, that might drop down to 98, 99, 98 and a half, something like that. If it does really well, you're up to 100 and 101, something like that. So it ebbs and flows as the market and investments ebb and flow. So again, I don't think that Hood Appraisal District is in a terrible spot being at 92%. I think I've said this before. When I went to TAD, we were at 86% funded. And when I left, we were at 96% funded. So, but I had a board that was very interested in making sure that trust fund was fully funded. So I just throw that out there.
So I got a question along those lines. By prepaying, does it benefit us any? Does it save us any down the road? I mean, how do you get the normal 11% slowly get us to 100?
Yes.
Okay.
So
if we prepay, then we don't pay 11 the next year. We might pay 10.
Yeah, and when you get closer to that 100, most likely that required rate's going to get closer to 7.
Okay.
Because typically what it is, it's like the employee puts in 7%,
Right.
The district puts in 7%. But since we're underfunded right now, we're having to pay 11, and it is amortized over, I believe, 20 years. That when TCDRS sets it up, says we're going to.
We're a 2-to-1 match, so we
Yes.
would be 14 versus 7. But we're getting some credit because people that have left,
Yeah.
those balances go into that trust fund.
Yeah, if someone
Okay.
leaves before they're vested, then they give up all the district's
Yeah,
money,
right,
and
right.
that remains in the trust fund.
Just
They'll
like with a
never-
401k, if you
Exactly.
leave before you're vested, you lose anything the company put into your
Yeah.
account.
Mhm. So, but you are correct. If we were to add more money, then that required rate would come down. Because the more we're funded, the less we're, like I give you an example in Dallas County. I mean, some of their required rates of return, because they were at a 250 to 1 match. That poor Ken Nolan over there, they were having to deal with like 23, 24% required contributions.
Yeah.
Over
Wow.
there because they had such a high, such
Their
a
fire
high.
and police pension had a $1 billion deficit.
Wow. Yeah, that was a mess over there.
I
One
remember
with a B.
that. And I'm not saying we need to move any money. I'm just getting my
And
head
I'm
around
not-
the whole thing.
And I'm not recommending that we do anything this year either with regards to it. We'll, whatever money we have left over, we will be refunding. That'll be I believe that if we don't commit it at this meeting or at another called meeting before December the 31st,
It's done.
I'm of the opinion we can't do anything
Right.
with it.
Right.
So
I would agree with that.
my plan right now would be to refund whatever we have left over to the entities. The appraisal district transitioned to a new website hosted platform in late 2023. Prior to this new website, HCAD published its annual audit reports to the website. As data was being added to the new website, some of the historical annual audit data was not brought to the new website. HCAD should continue to the practice of publishing the annual financial audit reports to the website. This will provide financial transparency to the oversight officials, taxing units, and the public, and provide information necessary for effective supervision of HCAD operations. That's worded a little bit different than the recommendation. The recommendation says that HCAD didn't put any of its financial audits on the older ones on the website. Only 2023 was on the website. That really wasn't true. We did transition, but I have already gone back and put 2020 through 2020,
Oh, good.
not- yeah, 2024. So I've already
Yeah.
put them on the website, but I'm going to ask you guys, do you want me to go back further than that? I mean, we can go back to 19, 18, 17, 16, but what I don't really have, if you look at our website and you go to reports, it gives you the year. What year do you want to look at? Well, if you click on 25, 24, 23, there's a lot of data with regards to certified values, appraisal reports, annual reports, collection reports. But I stop at 20. If you're going to go to 19, it'll be, here's the financial audit.
Yeah.
I don't know that I will want to go back and dig up all that old history and publish it. So if you guys are good with 2020 going forward, it's done. It's all, the information's already there.
That's good.
Well, I think that's good. If you got a sudden request or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
But
We can make it available.
Yeah.
We have do you have electronic copies in all those years? Okay, I was gonna say, we have hard copies as well, but we absolutely can make them available. I just didn't know if y'all wanted me to go to the trouble of
I think the last 5 years it's close.
Yeah.
that we're currently already in compliance with this recommendation. So those are the recommendation from the Weaver report. This other document
Oh,
here.
I've got one
Yeah.
question on that, Jeff. First paragraph, first sentence. Did you mean IE or EG on that one?
Whatever's right.
Well, are these examples or is
Yeah.
it specifically only these ones? If it's,
No,
if these are examples, it should be E dot
Okay,
G dot.
let's change that. No, these are examples that but I don't remember if I copied
No,
that.
I don't remember what.
I don't remember if I copied it from the report or whether that was Jeff Law editorial thing. This document here, the one that has purpose as the first thing. This document was given to Weaver. Okay? But what this document is, it is a fund balance policy that was adopted by the board of directors in 2011. And it basically kind of goes through, and it was written by the accounting firm at that particular time. But it basically is a policy of what to do with regards to kind of unspent funds. And it is in existence, and it is an official. It's in the form of a resolution, so it's official. This board, previous board, but this board has adopted this policy. And I definitely think you guys needed to see it, needed to probably look at it. I know that Scott's kind of not motion, but recommendation last meeting was that we ought to have a talk about these policies.
Mhm.
There's really two questions that I have for the board to make a decision upon. And if you want to table this whole discussion for this meeting, put your mind through these policies and maybe come back at the next meeting and hammer down details or something. But one is, there's two documents here. This one is the recommendations that came out of the forensic audit. This is a policy that's been in existence since 2011. How do we incorporate these? How do we mesh these two together? And then the next question is, where do we place this policy? Do we want to create a sort of like I have the employee handbook, which is a policy. I have the investment policy. I'm working on a purchasing policy. We have the board policy. Do you want to create another policy sort of booklet, or would you want to incorporate this policy that we're working on into a section in the board of directors policy? I think the board of directors policy might be a really good place for it. It's sort of with a new chapter. And that way, when we get new board members in there, we can say, here's the board policy, the things that you're going to be faced with. I mean, if you want to see the employee handbook, I can give it to you, but you probably aren't going to be charged with rendering decisions from that. That's going to fall on me. The investment policy, that kind of is a rule book that I'm supposed to play by. You guys authorize it, but I'm thinking that the best place for this probably would fall in the board of directors policy. And again, you might want to give it some thought. I don't know that it needs to be. I mean, even Weaver said when they went out and surveyed other appraisal districts, that they did not find that appraisal districts had hardly anything in the way of a policy pertaining to these issues.
Where does this stay now? Where's this house now? It's just
It
out
was on a computer
there. Okay.
because whenever they started when they started asking us for information, Meg is the one who actually found it on her computer, just in a folder somewhere.
Okay.
Now, generally speaking, was it in the minutes?
It was passed in the minutes, but the actual document, I've not been able to find the physical signed copy in the minutes. This was just something that I found in Linda Holland's old files whenever I was doing a deep dive.
Well, generally speaking, when the board passes a resolution of some sort, as the law requires, we will normally make that a part of the minutes itself. I've known other appraisal districts that will take the original resolutions and you'll have a book and says, here's all the minutes. And then sometimes there's another book that says, here's all the resolutions that have been passed by the board and the dates they were done.
Yeah. We
We typically are just putting our resolutions in the minute book, keeping one book with all that in there. But I don't know. I'm, as the law says, I'm here to serve at your pleasure. So I'd love some feedback on how you think we ought to proceed with writing these policies, publishing these policies, and so on and so forth.
It makes sense to just have it as a board document.
The board policy.
Yeah, board policy.
Yeah.
But,
I think that's the best place for it. You just put, you might have a section that says budget and fund balance policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or just finance policies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a greater heading of finance, and
Yeah.
under finance you have budget,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and we can, and I think in our current budget it's where we have that the board will hold 8%. I think it is as a reserve
We
for
said that- we said
contingency
that was
funds.
absolutely right.
And I think that's in the board policy too, so that that could fall into the same
Right.
category.
You should have, in you know, when you have new members, you have an orientation that says, let's just briefly go through this. And, you know, if you wonder about how we amend the budget, how we do that, here's where that is located that way. So,
You know, if you don't mind taking a note for me, maybe even something in there about line item transfers, year-end line item transfers, how the board will handle those.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about the budget amendment process. That might not be a bad idea either.
So Jeff, 5 years from now, when somebody's looking at this and they say, well, show me the footprints. When did you change this line item transfer and budget amendment? And wouldn't it be nice to say, oh, here's the footprint on that. It was December 2020.
Yeah, and what I've been thinking, Rod, is that as we amend this policy,
Yeah.
anytime we add something new, we make a footnote in there. This was added
Yeah.
December.
Or, yeah, you could use
Yeah.
some kind of just journaling thing in the actual document.
Mhm.
But when I read this, I looked at it and said, well, did this board just make a few changes on page 2, or it's all of this, Brad? You can't tell.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. Yeah, and again, these are two. I wrote this one because I took the recommendations at the back of the forensic audit. I copied it and I pasted it into a Word document, and then I went back and just reworded it so that it would flow like a stated policy rather than stated like this. We recommend you do this and this and this. Well, I don't need to put we recommend this, so I changed that around and said, you know, this is what the policy is going to be.
Yeah.
And
then on that other point on the footprints is that eventually you could say too, well, I don't understand the 8%. Well, let's go listen to the tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there would be a date too. Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
Yep.
And having a chronology. I mean, it's kind of like what the tax code does. If you look at the property tax code, there's sections at the very bottom down there that have all these dates.
Yeah.
And it sometimes now they're doing it to where they'll put the bill number that had an effect. So you can look down through there and say, okay, I think this was in 2000. Yep. And then you go look at Senate Bill 12, and then you can read the actual bill that made the change to the law. So,
do y'all need time to look at this and table to the next agenda, or what's your pleasure?
I hesitate to hate. Let me think how to say this. My brain's not functioning 100% at the moment. I hesitate to hold on to it because then we've got a partial new board at that point in time.
Mhm.
When we've been the board that has been managing the forensic audit.
And we're intimately involved with
Yeah.
all that's been going on.
I think if we add them to the board policy under a financial policy section would be the place. The question is, do we need to make, and it would take a minute to look at, are there any changes that we need to make to the fund balance policy
Well,
as it's currently stated?
if
Right.
you'll, and I think there are some, because if you'll look on page, if you look on the second page under policy, under the committed fund balance.
Yeah.
That strike through and underline stuff, that was recommended changes that I made. That
Well, those are your
That's
changes.
yours.
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay,
put
okay.
those in there, thinking that we need to. If you read it without my comments, it reads real choppy like. It didn't read very, it didn't flow all that well.
Yeah.
And I added some things, like this, for example, while the amount can be estimated by the board at year end, the exact amount subject to the commitment instead of constraint to the
Yeah.
commitment may be determined in subsequent fiscal years, which basically what we'd be saying is like, I think we're gonna have $200,000 left over at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion, we commit up to $200,000 to go to TCDRS next year. And then all of a sudden the audit comes in and it was 194,720.
Right.
That's when the audit. So that's what some of them will do is they'll say, yes, we want to use these funds for something else and commit them for a purpose, but we don't know exactly how much the exact number is going to be at this time.
You're gonna also have to edit, or add in your line item transfers.
Yes, I
So-
am. That's
Yeah.
true.
By default, we're gonna have to wait till the next meeting to see that, unless we're approving something we haven't seen.
I wouldn't recommend you do that.
No.
You could just simply record, what this board's opinion is of it today
Mhm.
without making a
Well,
motion.
we may say, maybe that's it, is we say, hey, we want these to go here. We need to make some adjustments and additions
Yeah.
at a future
Mhm.
meeting.
So if we
And I
were to
don't-
come back at the next meeting, we have a draft of what we can review and then approve.
So make a motion authorizing me to continue working on a draft.
Yeah.
Incorporating these two documents into a draft. And the line item transfer element.
Yeah.
And bring it back at the January meeting.
All right. Perfect. So I move that we give the chief appraiser approval to continue working on fund balance agreements and other documents that we should add to financial section of the board policy.
All right.
Did you get that? Because I didn't write it down while I was saying it.
Well, we got it recorded now. There we go.
That's a good.
All right. This recording helps two people. It helps the general public and it helps Meg go back and say exactly what they say.
All right.
say, yeah.
We have a motion by Scott. Do we have a second? Mark has a second. All those, any more discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Yeah.
And I like that. That gets it where it needs to be,
Yeah,
but then lets us keep working.
All right, we'll move to the,
And we'll get a good policy set up because I've got some more ideas that with regards to how to establish these committed funds if we want to. And I can even talk to our auditors about, because there's like 3 different categories of these funds. And they briefly talk about them in this 2011 version, but I'll get it to where I think it looks really good and it's easy to understand too.
okay. Number 5, we'll go to informational items. A report from,
Yes. I was going to report on the new board members. I thought the 2 incoming board members might be here. But we did the board appointment process. 5 members were nominated. Scott was nominated, Richard was nominated, Mark was nominated, and James Wall and Mr. Highsmith were nominated. That was the only nominations we received. Well, I think the county was the first one that came out and cast votes, and they took their votes and they divided them by 5, and everybody got the same number. And I think the city kind of came back and did the same thing. So the law says that December the 15th was the deadline for all of the votes to come back in. We sent out on December the 15th, the 14th. Oh, 4 entities cast votes. Yes, thank you. But we sent out on December the 15th or 16th, said, here's the results, because there was only 5 nominations, and here's the number of votes that they got. So those people have been assigned to the board. And I was kind of hoping that one of them or 2 of them will be here, because what I would recommend we do at the January meeting is that we're going to have to do the swearing in, the statement of officers, do the oath of office. And then now there's a new document that all the board members have to sign, which basically is, here are your duties, and you understand what your duties are. New law that came into place after, quite frankly, after the Tarrant Appraisal District Board was installed. It was actually a Tarrant County representative that passed this law. They were upset about how that reappraisal plan process was going. So you'll have to sign a statement that says, I understand what our duties and responsibilities are. And then we will swear everyone in. We will January 3rd, we will reorganize the board. We'll have to appoint a chair and appoint a secretary.
Yeah.
And then we will conduct business for whatever we have on the agenda come January. Should be a pretty simple type process. But I do want to say thank you to Rod and thank you to Rick for your service on this board.
It was enjoyable, folks, working with you.
Wish I had a gold watch to give you. We spent all of our money.
Yeah, that's just what we need.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny how clear the tax code is. It says this board shall not be paid. I mean, it is so emphatic that you cannot be paid. You can be reimbursed, you know, if we were to maybe have a field trip down to Hico or something. But you can't be paid. So nevertheless, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the support y'all have given us. It's been a good board. I'm glad Richard's here. I mean, Richard came in kind of on the tail end, and now he's been reappointed, and so I'm looking forward to the future next year. That's basically we're studying the market right now to see where the values are going, and I talked to Kelly today, and commercial values, they look low. I mean, he's gotten 13 sales up and down 377, and we're low on all of them. So I'm thinking about calling in our main 2 tax agents on those particular properties and just saying, look, here's the data. Here's what we're dealing with. Just, we're kind of warning you, don't be surprised that we're most likely going to have to raise it. So don't come in with too crazy of an argument of why we're wrong.
We've been driven by the market.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's market value.
And we're still watching the residential stuff. I think there's going to be pockets of residential that have gone up in value, and there's going to be pockets of residential that probably didn't go up in value. So we'll do those on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis.
Residential's been weird.
Yeah. So we're studying that. But other than that, all the appraisers are out in the field measuring new houses and picking up stuff that needs to go on the roll and doing our job.
There's lots of new subdivisions being cut, lots of
Mm-hmm.
concrete being poured.
Yep. And concrete ain't cheap from what I understand either.
Yeah.
Someone told me it's going for $200 a yard. Yeah.
Wow.
But we got, we're going to have and I really suspect in the coming years that we're really going to see an uptick in new houses and new buildings and things of that nature.
Didn't they remove the building moratorium for the city?
My understanding is that
It expired in October.
Okay, so it expired, they just didn't renew
They
it.
did not extend it, no.
Okay.
The new plan should come online in February or March.
Okay, good.
So that'll increase.
Yeah.
That'll increase our
You can
work.
flush, and you may not be able to drink. The water issue's gonna be big.
May not be a whole lot of water pressure.
Just glad we're not in the water business.
Cranberry just started work on a new drinking water plant, $110 million. Of
Oh, wow.
Okay,
course, they got a grant of $57.8 million from the state,
Yeah.
good. Where's this one gonna go?
Behind the police officer.
right behind the police station.
down the
Somebody
highway.
told me that. Okay, yeah.
Just my thoughts. It's been 4 years of sort of a rocky road. I will commend Jeff and certainly Meg and everyone else. When we first started this, I think Meg will vouch that the morale was pretty low 4 years ago, and we've worked really hard trying to be positive for them. And we have a new server, we have new computers. We fixed some of the leaks in the building.
Got new gutters.
Yeah, we put a new roof on it. We got new gutters. We fixed the soffit. The porch didn't fall on anybody. We fixed that. And the evolution as far as, we have continuity. We've got Eric on board, which makes it much more stable as far as the organization and anything that could happen in the future. And there's been a lot of incremental moves to make it better. And I appreciate everybody's work. And so,
Well, I got my pilot's license a long time ago, and I haven't flown in a while. The kids decided to go to college, and I needed to pay for that instead of fly around.
Yeah.
But I used to have people always ask me, how was the flight? And I said it was uneventful.
there you go.
Yeah.
And my goal for this next year is to have an uneventful appraisal district.
Yeah.
Board meetings, issues. I'm hoping and planning for the fact that we're going to shoot for uneventful. We just want to do business as usual, get our work done, get things taken care of, and not have controversy, not have questions and things of that nature. So we've taken a lot of steps, I think, and I think I told y'all that the day after our last meeting, I posted all of the stuff on the website as far as the forensic audit. I posted the full audit. I posted all of the appendix and the documents that Weaver sent us back, and I also posted all their bills. So from a transparency standpoint, we're telling people, here's the audit. Go read it for yourself. Here is a lot of the documents that they reviewed, and here's the bills that they sent us. So we just put it all out there.
Do we get any kind of indication the hits on?
We can call about a week after we had that out there. We had 42 hits.
Interesting.
And I would say half of those hits were from in here.
Probably, yeah.
Because I know I pulled it up several times because I would
Sure.
Meg and I would be talking about stuff.
Just
And it's like, here it
easy
is.
to
So
look at, yeah.
I'd pull it up. So, if 50% of them were coming from within this building,
Right.
yeah, I don't know what it is as of today, but we can find out because Biz told us that the day that I asked Susan to ask, and it was 42 hits.
I don't know about y'all, but I've not had one inquiry about it. Somebody asked, somebody said, is the audit done? I said, yes. And I said, what did they find? I said, well, nothing significant. $26.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. And the person that asked me didn't have a bone to pick, so it was. So.
Given the newspaper article, it was interesting to see that it's been as calm.
Yeah.
I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of surprised too. They put it on page 9 of the newspaper.
Yeah, it wasn't page 1.
Well,
Well, I told Meg, I said, we're right next to the the crime blotter.
is that an indication?
Where all the police went.
Oh,
And I think 2 people have been watching online on Facebook and really are not seeing any traffic at all on social media about it. So
I haven't seen any.
the naysayers haven't been very loud.
You mentioned Biz, and I have a question on the website.
Mhm.
Using the website as often as I do, or have we gone back to using Southwest data for our property search page?
we have. And the reason we did, and if you want to file a complaint, talk to Susan. It's kind of a joke. that
Okay.
We have. We were getting a lot of complaints from people, kind of like you, that were saying, hey, I can't go back and look at tax receipts. I can't go back and look at who
Okay.
paid
Yeah.
this account. And Biz had promised that they were going to get there, but they never did.
Okay.
So what we did was we went back to Southwest Data really all the same information is there because
Right.
Biz was pulling the data from
From
Southwest Data.
Okay.
We just went back to using their search capabilities because when you go in, you can pay through their website,
Mhm.
but you also gain access to all the receipts and all the paid dates.
True.
And a more accurate amount, what's due and what's been paid. So it
And
was
the,
really more out of providing more service
Right.
and more information to people.
and I will also tell you from a user standpoint, their search is much simpler.
Mm-hmm.
You can shorten a street name and it'll still give you everything that includes that.
Okay.
And Biz, if it doesn't match,
Yeah.
you're not always getting something.
No doubt.
And like with Biz, you sometimes have to put in a street number.
Mm-hmm.
With Southwest Data, you can put in a street and it'll give you the whole street
Yeah.
on a list, and then you can go and look at everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand why we changed, but I like that, and I noticed it last week. I was like, and I had to go back out and go back in. I was like, did I mess something up? So,
And we tried to put a little blurb on the front page saying kind of why we switched because I told her, I said, we have to tell people why we're doing
see,
this.
I don't even make it past property search.
Yeah.
Because that's just that's just what I'm doing.
You would have to scroll down a little bit
Yeah.
to get down to that explanation, but it was really to serve a need from a lot of title companies and also,
I had a few of them tell me they didn't like the Biz search.
yeah, and most of our property owners, I wouldn't say most. A lot of our property owners in Hood County, their taxes are paid by an escrow company.
Correct.
And so a lot of those escrow companies were also wanting to make
Yeah.
sure that they could see if something was paid.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Biz site we kept getting promises that they were going to
Yeah.
do it, but it just.
There's definitely some stuff they had in their website on the search, like the map. That was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. But you
So-
can still use our interactive map
Okay, good.
up top. If you go right there next to property search, if
Uh-huh.
you move over, there's a thing called interactive
Yeah,
map.
yeah.
When you click on that, it'll
still
take
pulls
you
the
right
whole thing up.
straight to and then you can also click on the parcel itself and it'll give you a bunch of information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I can still get to that. Excellent.
Yeah.
That was,
That's all I got.
you said
Yeah.
website, and I remembered I wanted to ask that. So,
Yeah.
The proposed future agenda items, do we have anything you need to?
We'll bring back this policy
This is
thing.
back now.
We'll bring that one back.
I guess you'll need to set the date, Rick,
Right.
Thursday, I assume.
It looks like January 15th.
Looks good.
That would work for me most likely.
I'll be here. My calendar.
So if there's no further business, we're adjourned at
Thank you.
5:47.
Excellent. Check us out.
All right.